Hello, hello. Happy Friday. We're back with 360 of Opera Live. Our guest today is Abdiel Vazquez, pianist, conductor, coach, and the founder of Vincero Academy. We're going to be talking about that today. Come in, come in. Let us know where you're tuning in from. I'm in New York. Abdiel is in New York too. I see him there. Let's see. Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo
Hello.
estás? How are you?
Bien, todo bien. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me. Very nice to see you. Very nice to see everyone here today.
Yes, just so everyone know, we both speak Spanish and English. So if there are questions in Spanish as well, we're happy to answer those. Welcome to 360 of Opera Live. So I wanted to have you over. First, I want to talk a little bit about your background in case some people might not know your story. And then I really want to get into Vincero and all those cool projects you're running right now. So I was telling everyone that you're a pianist, you're a conductor, you're a coach, you're from Mexico. So I would like to know a little bit about the story of how it is that you came to the States. And I know you still have a lot of projects going on in Mexico as well. So if you can walk us through a little bit of that story.
Of course, yes. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. And like you said, I'm from Mexico, from Monterrey originally, and that's where I grew up. That's where I was educated, and originally as a concert pianist. I'm still very much a concert pianist, but I've expanded into a very diverse, array of activities in music, of things that I love. And one of them for the last 20 years has been opera. So I've been in opera since I was in Mexico, working with a lot of opera companies as assistant conductor, as a rehearsal pianist, as coach. And then when I came to New York 14 years ago, that's exactly what I've also been doing here for a long time. I was for like a decade on Manhattan School of Music on the coaching staff. And I've been the guest conductor for Manhattan Opera Studio. And lately I've been doing also lots of, concerts with some of the people that are now in our faculty, like Eileen Perez, like Cristina Polais, back in the day also with David Lomelí, with Javier Camarena. So that's also one of my other sides. And now I have this orchestra in Mexico, La Super. I'm the artistic director of the Philharmonic Orchestra in Monterrey. And that's sort of my many activities. And of course, now it's the Vincero Academy, which is a project that is born really it's like a silver lining of this 2020, that has been such a strange year. Yeah. But this is the silver lining, at least for me and for the faculty that have gotten together to create this opportunity for singers all over the world.
So at what point in this, I can't believe this year is already going to be over. It seems like forever, and at the same time, it's going by so fast. At what point in this year did you develop this idea? Do you think this was somehow something that was already going on in your head from before? How did it come to life?
Well, that's a very good thing you mentioned, because usually things do cook in my head for years, for a long time. And I know this educational part has been in me for a while. And but I think the technology part, the opening ourselves to online classes, master classes, hadn't really been a possibility, something that we were not open ourselves, yeah, our minds to, even though the technology was there for a long time.
Yeah.
And that combined itself this year. So finally it was forced upon us. We had this summer program in Morelia, of which I was a music director. And once the summer program could not happen, then I was like, what can we give the people instead? They were going to come and perform live, Bohème and Noche de Figaro. And that's when I thought of my friends, the stars, that I'm like, well, let's see if she would be willing to give a master class. Let's see if, Opolais, or if Eileen or David, or, the coaches at the Met, like Howard Watkins, Daniel Orlando from Curtis or ABA. would they be willing to participate in this? And they jumped right in. And after that experience of 3 weeks, and we focused on role study, which is something that was very personal to me, but not to just be, okay, another 5 aria package to like work, but no, let's go to the repertoire. And the response was so great, and the learning experience was so great for all of us, not just for the students, for me, for the faculty, that we realized we had something in our hands. You know, this opportunity of giving access to people from all over the world, to the top stars, the people that are doing the things on the stage, the people that have been through it, and that maybe before it would have been impossible to get a hold of them. You would have to either, you know, come to New York or go to Berlin and then see if there was an opening in their calendars, you know. So this is something that has us very excited.
Yeah, especially this aspect of just the worldwide aspect of it, because I mean, I come from Argentina, and you know, when I came at 19, so in a way, like pretty early in my studies, but before that, it would have been unthinkable to have access to any of these people who are not in Argentina, you know, and
Yes.
so all of a sudden, now that's an option, and I think that's just incredible. It opens a whole new door, a way of possibilities in education for this new generation of singers.
I think it's part of what, you know, this new world of interconnection, of social media, of now Zoom master classes, or, you know, live on AGs has brought to us, is that now that before there were like very specific gates and very specific gatekeepers. You know, if you want to have a career in opera, if you want to have access to these particular coaches or these particular teachers, now we're just like opening up all of that. And when it's the access is not just, it's the connections for sure, but it's also financial access, especially, you know, not growing in Argentina. Same thing with me in Mexico. That the flight, just the flight to get to New York, just to audition, you know, and then if you don't get it, if you don't get in, or, you know, and then pay for the coachings, pay for the, and who do you go to? So that's
exactly that, not even knowing. I remember when I applied for undergrad, it was a complete lottery because I had no idea, you know. And I overheard like American students say like, oh, you have to like have a lesson with a couple teachers and use that as your reference. And it's like, who are even the teachers? You know, I had no idea. And all of a sudden, exactly, because when I applied, it was still everything by mail. I mean, there were websites, but the application part was still by mail. And I just think of it right now, and I mean, it's still a tough process, but the information is so much more available. And yeah, and people are on social media and you can contact them, and that's amazing.
It is amazing, because what we're trying to create is give these tools and these resources to the singers. You know, one of the big things that we did for Vincero Academy is that we don't have necessarily a program of voice teachers, because that's such a personal process for every single singer that we don't want to impose someone on them. What if right now they're already comfortable or happy with who they are with, you know, or even if they're not, you know, it's still a delicate situation in the middle of the school year. So what we have is this great stars, like singers that have gone through the process, you know, and have really paid their dues when it comes to building their career. And we also have great coaches, both for music and for language, people that are at the Metropolitan Opera, people that are working with these singers. So what does that offer the singer? That offers them this guidance, you know, on saying like, you know, for you, I think this would be a good place to go. I see myself in you. I went through that. And that's part of the experience we had in the summer. And we have actually great voice teachers in our faculty that are open to meeting students, and you no longer have to fly to New York to like try out a lesson, you know, with Jennifer Rowley, with Kirsten Chambers, Lucas Meacham, Brian Jagde, Mignon Don, all of them great voice teachers. So this is part of the opportunities we want to open up to the artists to start to get to know themselves, to see what opportunities are there out for them, and to learn, to focus on the music, to go to the repertoire, because sometimes they come out of 4 years of conservatory, having gone into that, or who knows, you know, 2 years of masters, and then how many roles, like how many operas you actually got to sing, and how many actual, you know, core roles, the operas
Mm-hmm.
that you will use for the next 10 years, 20 years of your life. So that's why we're focusing on the rep. We're doing
Mm-hmm.
this year Carmen, which we're starting tomorrow. We're doing Don Giovanni, and the deadline is tonight.
Tonight.
And we're gonna do La Traviata also for this season. And next
Mm-hmm.
season, we will probably go into Bohème. We'll probably go into Noche di Figaro, probably Rigoletto. And we're looking into all this repertoire: Barbara of Seville, Elixir of Love, etc.
And this is also a great time, since, I mean, we all seem to be like pretty busy, but still there is more time for being home and studying. So now is a time to learn those roles, right? And even if, we don't get to perform them on a stage right now, it's about knowing them. It's about having them in your repertoire.
This is a very important point, because sometimes we see great careers and they're like, wow, well, they got lucky, they were called at the last minute because there was a cancellation. Well, but the important thing is they were ready. And for us artists, it's very important to find the motivation in the music, to not wait for an invitation to finally start learning the role. If your career takes off, you won't have that much time, to be studying, when you go from one performance to the other. You have to build your repertoire now, and especially in 2020 for all of us, when performances are stalled or are slow, this is the moment to go to the music, which is what matters. It's the reason why we became artists in the first place, hopefully. So this is the time to go to the music, to learn, to find the motivation, and to really become richer artists inside, and then we're going to be ready when the moment comes. That's what's so important right now.
Absolutely. So I have a question, a little bit of a nerdy question for you.
Yes.
As someone who's been, coaching and working with singers for such a long time, in a way, here you had your golden opportunity to build your dream cast, let's say, for each of these operas, and seeing the graphics, with all these incredible artists who are going to be teaching these roles. How does that feel for you? How did you go about building this insane faculty? I know some of them are personal friends, but yeah, walk us a little bit through that process.
Well, like you said, it's insane. It's I have to say, but the two people that have really supported me, especially after the summer program. The summer program, I sort of built it. Just going to my friends, to the people that I was closest with, and that I could maybe think they would trust me with what I was trying to build. But once that happened, I went to Eileen Perez, who has been a great friend and trusted advisor, and also to David Lomelí, who's also a longtime friend, also an advisor, and tell them about, this is what I have in my mind. What should we put together? Who should we invite? Who should we bring? And we were like bouncing off, names, also going to the people that we trust, because it's about who do we know has the same spirit, of giving, of teaching, of this generosity, to be open to this new world. So that's how we started building. I see it as a team effort, of trying to build something that is great. And of course, the idea is to expand even further. If we ever go into, let's say, Wagner or Richard Strauss, we already have Kirsten Chambers offering a masterclass on Richard Strauss, and so on. That the point is to, expand. We have Camarena, who is great in bel canto, and even though we don't have any of those operas this year, he's giving a masterclass in bel canto, and hopefully we can have him, in the future, in one of those operas that are his specialty. So it's a dream come true, but it's also the responsibility, that you're building something that's big, so you better do it right, and because I want to get excited for the singers. Like, I wish, I was a singer, young singer these days, to get to take this program.
Yeah. And you talked about an interesting point there in the structure of the program. So people are going to be working on one role and focusing on that, but there's also going to be master classes where they can if they want work on some of their other repertoire or other arias, right?
Yes, so basically the core, the foundation is a role. So they sign up, singers have the opportunity to sign up for a specific role in an opera. So tonight is the deadline for Don Giovanni, and we can have the baritons, the bass baritons, you know, say I want to do Don Giovanni, I want to do Leporello. We have some singers signing up for Zerlina, and that means they all get to participate in all the group classes. They get to participate in specific workshops for the opera with the faculty of that opera. For example, Isabel Leonard is working with the Zerlinas and Elviras, and Aileen Perez working with Don Anna, and so on. Stefano De Peppo with Leporello. So that's happening. And then they have their individual coachings, you know, and that's where they get to sing for Anthony Manoli, where they get where they get to sing with Brian Wagern, with the language coaches, Elsa Queron, Stefano Baldaseroni, Stefano De Peppo. But then I also wanted to offer them other opportunities. We have the seminars by Jennifer Rowley, which are incredible seminars. She has so much to offer. We have Kirsten Chambers giving repertoire-specific masterclasses, Luis Ledesma, we have Javier Camarena, we have another lecture by Brian Wagern on how to learn music efficiently. We have Carlos Conde talking, who's a great scholar, you know, and singer too, but that's giving a whole lecture on the Italian School of Singing. So it's just trying to give them tools and resources, things that I wish, you know, that we wish the singers had known, you know, back in the day. That's always my aim when I think of education. It's like, what do I wish I had known back in the day, and how can I make this accessible? Because the point is to build, to open doors and to build, not to hold information for yourself, because now it was hard for you, now it has to be hard for everyone. No, it's now let's make it easier for everyone, and let's open this access, because the goal is the music, the art. It's like spreading it all over the world.
Absolutely. And if we make education more accessible, it's also by default going to make opera more accessible to everyone, right? Because it's gonna spread like COVID.
Exactly. That's what we want. Let's make this contagious. You know, this is the idea with music. That's it, and with opera, because at the end, not everyone will, you know, necessarily build a career singing opera on the stages of the world, but we're going to have the administrators, you know, the people that take decisions, and maybe future patrons, future audience members, people that are going to bring music to kids, who are going to be future audience. And the world is better with music in it, you know, with the world is better. So that's part of the goal with spreading this worldwide. And I have to say, and this is something that we really should mention, that how grateful I am for the support that 360 of Opera is giving to all these singers with the scholarships. So I'll let you talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm right there with you. I think I just think this is an incredible opportunity. I'm also amazed at, you know, I think it caught us all by surprise, the amazing things you can do with technology. And at the beginning, we were all a bit reticent, you know, but it's not gonna go away. And, you know, we'll slowly get back to doing things in person, but it's gonna be a hybrid, and that's okay. And I think financially, in a way, it opens a lot of doors for a lot of people. And this is a great option that we have right now. And in my, I mean, I agree so much with you when you say, you know, because I do the same with 360, you know, it's like, in my experience, what did I miss? What did I observe that maybe, you know, didn't work all the way in my journey? And I think a lot of this that I observed, that I know you talk about, because it's the whole point of the program, is, you know, in the education here in the States, it's very aria package focused, and you spend like your 4 years in undergrad, you know, trying to find this magic aria package, which is a little ridiculous, because it's going to keep changing, not only because your voice changes and develops, but also because you're going to be auditioning for different things, and I hope you wouldn't use the same package for everything, right? So I love this idea of, you know, instilling this interest for the music, you know, and the pieces and the stories and the operas, and taking the time, which it's something that is tough in the world we live in because everything's so fast and we're all
Yeah.
so busy all the time. You know, when people talk about the singers of the past, well, yeah, they had all the time in the world, you know, to be home and study. So we do have to adapt to a different world. But at the same time, I think like bringing back this idea of, yeah, if you want to, you know, be in Germany and be able to jump into a role, well, you better like already know or be very familiar with this role. So here's the opportunity, and what best to learn these roles, because exactly, one thing is your voice lesson, the other thing is learning, you know, firsthand from someone who sung these roles everywhere. There's nothing like that experience, someone who can share that with you. And so I'm just so glad that we've been able to like partner and collaborate and to offer, you know, because it's still a difficult time for everyone.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to make sure that there's at least a possibility for some scholarships, you know, to make it even more
Yeah.
accessible
This
for,
is, yeah, this is so, sorry to, this is so
no, no.
important because there's the financial aspect of building an opera career, and it doesn't get talked about much. We talked a lot about in my conversation with David Lomeli the other day. You know, he's also on the administrative side a lot now, and he sees this, you know, and for us that was very important. Like, how is it that you get to pay $40,000 a year for a conservatory here in the US? So, you know, or, you know, people that come from South America that want to go to study in Europe, that's like very, you know, a big financial commitment. And how do you know it's gonna pay off, you know? So what we're looking for is to give this accessibility to singers. These programs, and I can say it here out loud, that tuitions range between $1,500 and $3,500. So $1,500 or $3,500, which is really a very small fraction of what you will pay if you had to fly and, you know, take these lessons in person. But still, it's a difficult year. So it's still, this particular year is not an easy year for anyone, and especially for artists. And that's where the opportunities that, for example, you as 360 Opera bring in. I have to say it here for everyone. It's like up to $10,000 in scholarships for students, you know, distributed amongst our 3 programs and different roles. And also at Vincero, we're trying to really support the talent. So if somebody says, I don't have the money now, but I could use a payment plan for like 1 year or something, like, okay, come in, and we don't want anyone to be left out without the opportunity. You know, this is a time to do it, and we want to support. And the important, great thing is that the faculty also wants to support. Like they're open to it, and I think that it speaks so well of them, of their generosity and their openness to share.
Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely. And you know, with these, it's always thinking more on a business side, also as a singer, which is important for everyone to like start using, you know, that part of the brain. It's also useful to like break it down as an investment, you know, and really, I mean, I was looking on the website, you know, when you add up everything that you're getting, you know, the amount of hours and everything, there is no equivalent. Like,
Exactly.
you know, you would not get that equivalent for that money investment. So it's a really great opportunity, but I'm you know, of course it's a hard time for everyone, and that's why I'm glad we can still help in some way with the scholarships.
Yes, it's so important. You said it. That's what we were trying to build. Like, wait, so they study the primary role A, that we call it, so Don Giovanni or Leporello, and they get up to 49 sessions, you know, between group classes and master classes. They get to participate in all the individual coachings, you know, 1 per week during 3 months, plus all the master classes that's there that they get to watch as listeners and learn a lot too. So it's really an incredible program that hopefully singers can see that as an investment, because at the end we invest in our career. So we are the actual business, you know, so it's in ourselves to develop ourselves so that then we go out into the world. And for me, the product sometimes, rather than thinking of myself as a product, sometimes I see the repertoire as it. How much time me as a concert pianist, how many lessons I invested on a Rachmaninoff concerto, and so that then I could go out and play it in the world. Same thing here. You're gonna use Leporello for the next 15 years of your life or more, or at Cerlina, that's how you're gonna start your career as a soprano. Use it for 5 years, 10 years, between small opera houses and then big opera houses. With Carmen, we have people doing Frasquita and Mercedes. With Traviata, we have Alfredo, or Traviata herself. That role is going to be with you for a long time. So how much do you want to invest in it so that then it's going to pay off for 5 years, for 10 years, for 15 years, 20 years? That is
Absolutely.
what we want to instill on singers too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of that business mindset of things is not obvious to a lot of artists or taught in school that much. So I think that's a great way to think of it. And I also, in this, as we talk about everything that you get in the program, I want to talk a little bit about the orchestra, and there are some future opportunities there also for the singers, right?
Yes, this is part of the insanity that we were talking about earlier, about how can I make like the dream program, like the dream academy, if I really could build this. And the La Super, which is my Philharmonic orchestra back in Mexico, it's a great teamwork, but we started during this pandemic by releasing a virtual video of the orchestra, and we thought, wouldn't it be great to do arias to do with the singers? So that's one of the opportunities we're offering to everyone. It's audition based. We wanted to make it very clear that this is not a pay to sing program. It's paid to learn. It's an academy. And all the performance opportunities and the recording with the orchestra are going to be audition based. And same thing, we are going to have performances for next season once it's safe. From between 2021 2022 season, we're going to have one cast selected for each opera to do live performances, and dates and places are still being worked on, but it's going to be a great opportunity to then bring everything you learned to the stage. And Hi Supernova, insanity is right. True.
Yeah, we got some comments here. My friend Tigran also is tuning in. Hi Tigran. I love that. I think it's fabulous. So to sum up, tomorrow starts the Carmen session, and we'll be announcing the 360 scholarship winners for that session soon. So stay tuned. And tonight is the deadline to apply for Don Giovanni.
Yes.
Which starts in January, right?
It starts in February. The program of Don Giovanni runs from February through May, through February through April, and the program of Traviata runs from April through June. And Carmen starts tomorrow. We're going to announce the winners very soon. It's very exciting. We have up to 18 singers signed up, and for Don Giovanni, the deadline is tonight. So we encourage everyone to apply. If you want to apply for the 360 scholarships, all they have to do is you have the link in bio. They can follow the instructions, but it's very, very easy. There's no application fee. Another one of the barriers that I think is sometimes, preventing singers for looking for opportunities. If you have to pay for 10 application fees, that takes away all your rent. So here there's no application fee. It's a very simple application process in our website, and all you have to do is write 360 on Opera, follow us on social media, tag a couple of friends, and you'll be considered based on merit. That's what I think is the most important thing.
Exactly. So you send in one video, and then based on the auditions, the winners will be selected.
Exactly.
And also, as you said, if there are payment plan options as well. We want this to be accessible.
Yes, we wanted this to be accessible. That is a point. That is a point for music to come to everyone. This is what I wish I had when I was growing up, in Mexico. You know, I had to wait some years so that I was finally able to get out to get the kind of education that I was looking for and the kind of opportunities that I knew I needed and that would further my career, but I just did not have them back then. So this is the chance. This is what we want to bring for everyone. And it's not just Mexico, it's all over the US. We have people from Europe, we have people from Russia, we have people from Japan in our classes.
Very
It's
cool.
so there's no age limit. There's no time zone restrictions either. We really are doing an incredible puzzle work of building a puzzle for the master classes, the group classes, so that everyone can participate.
Oh, right,
So,
with the time.
yeah, with the time zones, because you know Japan is 14 hours ahead, and then LA is 3 hours behind. But we're doing it, and it's gonna be great. And so, please, everyone, I hope they can apply. They can be a part of this. I think it's one of the first academy of its kind in the world. The only one so far. So we want this to be a success. It's a big responsibility, so we want to do it right, and I think we're doing it right.
And I think a big point also, you know, people talk so much about, I don't love this word, networking, you know, and connections, but there is an aspect of that is true, but I like to think of it more as you know, friendships and relationships. But every time you do an opera, every time you do a program, you meet people, you know, and especially with the international aspect of a situation like this, that's the amazing part of it for me, especially, you know, every time I've done a summer festival, like, all of these people stay in my life, you know, and then you have friends all over the world. You know, tomorrow, if you have to travel last minute, I need a couch to stay on, and not once the pandemic's over. You know, you get to meet people all over the world who come with different stories, different backgrounds, different ideas on these roles, right? Depending on their experiences. And I think that adds so much.
I think that was one of the coolest aspects of when we did this in the summer, because rather than going to a production and have a conductor and a stage director sort of impose their vision on you, here you had all the singers that were learning this role share their experience and bringing exactly what you said, the diversity of experiences, of understanding, of you know, to the understanding of this role, and make it just richer for everyone. That's just when talking about the artistic part. And then, like you said, these are lifelong friendships. You have no idea, the community that was formed was so beautiful, so supportive. Everyone, you know, supporting of everyone, knowing that we were there for the same reason. It was not competition in any way. It's the opposite. It was just this beautiful community. And then, yes, the networking with the faculty, you know, because and David Lomeli, who is now, you know, on the other side of the chair, or the casting chair, we talked about this the other day, because he's like, whether you want it or not, we talk about these singers later. You know, if I hear someone that's good, like, I keep him on my mind, I keep her on my mind. Maybe 2 years later, somebody asks me, you know, same thing with the faculty, with the coaches. You know, Howard would write me afterward, oh, that was a good soprano you had today. So these are lifelong connections for forever.
Exactly. And that also brings up an interesting point that I always want to insist on, that it's not about this career is not about instant gratification, right? Sometimes you audition for something and you get the job right away. It's happened to me, you know, it happens. It's not like it doesn't happen. But in the majority of cases, it's more about building relationships, about singing for people, you know, then have them hear you again, and you having improved, you know, and just showing up and being there and being a part of this community. And you never know. You never know when someone gets a phone call and, you know, and someone asks them about you. So it's a long opera is a long game. You have to play the long game. It's exactly, no instant gratification.
sometimes that dream audition will
It
happen,
happens.
where they don't even, oh, what are you, like, we have the contract right here. But
Yeah.
most of the time, you don't even hear from them. And you just go like knocking doors, playing the long game, building the repertoire, building your connections, getting better. And people will notice, and people talk about it, and it takes years to create. And this is part of what Vincero is all about. It's about helping the singers build that foundation for their careers.
Absolutely.
But play the long game, build the repertoire, build the connections, build the friendships, build the network, everything they need to go out there into the world.
And in a supportive and positive environment, because I see a lot of young artists get so caught up in this idea of rejection and failed auditions, and I just don't see it like that at all. It's all a part of the process, and you also pick what you audition for, right? So you also need a plan. Going back to the business side of it, like, is everything worth auditioning for? So having, right now, in such a difficult time for everyone, having a structure and support system like this with these kind of artists, I just I think it's incredible.
Yes, I think so too. That's exactly well said. You build your career, you build it, for one accepted audition. Maybe there were like 19 rejections before, but that was part of the process. You wouldn't get that acceptance if you didn't go through those 19 rejections. But the important thing is to have the structure, to be prepared, to plan, and to know that this is all part of the process. And yes, the environment, the supportive environment. And that's why I'm so happy to have someone like Eileen Perez, who is a really demanding artist when she teaches, but in such a way, such a positive and encouraging way, that you come out there inspired. Even if I was not taking the class, but I was so inspired to go and practice,
I want to
study. I want to sing, And same thing with everyone. The master classes of Daniel Orlando, of Cristino Polais, it was so beautiful to watch that support. And I think it's because they've been through that world that's so tough, sometimes. And hopefully it's changing, but I think the change comes from us, from within us. So we want to be one of those factors that brings change to the world of opera.
Absolutely. And this is why we're working together.
Exactly. And that's why we're so grateful for 360 Opera.
So I wanted to touch quickly on the technology aspect of it. What do participants need as far as tech for everything to function smoothly?
This is a great question, because this is something that we had to ask ourselves, like, what does this mean? Do I need a professional camera, a microphone, and lights, a whole production? How is this going to work? Finally, what we settled was basically one important thing: you need a high-speed internet connection. It doesn't even have to be the Ethernet cable. It could be Wi-Fi, as long as it's stable. For a lot of people, that's just the kind of internet you have at home. Right? Don't be with your cell phone on the park, for example. Right. But the internet you have at home, that's great. If you have a computer, a laptop, or a PC, a Mac, that's great too. But you can also take your lesson from a tablet, even from your phone, as long as it doesn't crash, as long as it's has the updates and everything. And when we go on Zoom, all you have to do is turn on your original sound. That's all. That the kind of sound that lets everything through without any filters. So that was an incredible realization, because I realized, I could take the lesson with the microphone of the headphones, with the microphone of the computer. Of course, the things you put on top of that just make it better. If you have a better microphone, if you have basically a better microphone, you don't even need a great camera. You don't need anything else. Now we provide this guidance when it comes to a technological aspect, but it's simpler than what we thought. And when it came to the accompaniment, we give everyone
you record everything, right?
Well, first I record everything. So all the opera all Carmen is already recorded for the singers to use the tracks in their lessons. And we also provide them as free subscription to Accompanist, which is a great app. I'm making a free commercial right now, but it's a great app where you can change the tempo, transpose, do fermatas, etc. So we have the technology, we have the means, and yes, they don't have full opera, so I recorded a full operas, over the past couple of weeks, and yeah, it's just trying to make things easier for the singers, and so the technology aspect is solved, and we will walk everyone through the process.
Amazing. So you have a live with Lucas Meacham in a little bit, right? Who's in Paris singing as Camillo?
That's so incredible, because Lucas Meacham is part of our permanent faculty.
Right.
He's doing Carmen with us, so he's Camillo, of course. He's doing Don Giovanni with us, being Don Giovanni, and doing La Traviata, being Germont. And it's so great because it proves our point. You get to learn from the people that are doing it. Right now, Lucas is doing Camillo in Paris. And we're going to talk soon, because tonight is the deadline for Don Giovanni. That's what he's going to be doing. And if people want to join us, that's going to be at the official account of the Academy. That's Vincero Academy. Vincero, it's a very, I think all singers know how that's spelled. That's why we chose that name, because we all know that word, exactly.
Yeah, and so it's not only someone who's sung these roles everywhere, but who is singing them right now in Paris with all the restrictions, in a great production, by the way. I saw that production with Anita Rachtelishvili some years ago, and I loved it. So you'll also, and Eileen also, I know you guys were talking yesterday about her experience working right now, and how I think that was a game changer for me also a couple years back, when I was still a student. I think when you're a young singer, and maybe it's, artist in general, you kind of have this idea that, the stars that are ahead of you don't struggle, right? That once they've made it, the world is perfect and beautiful. Yeah. And, once I started meeting more people and just being more in the business, I had that big realization. And, I think in a way, but I saw it as a positive thing. It's like everybody's human. It's not that problems go away. Yeah. The career doesn't become easier once you're singing at bigger houses. It actually can become more complicated. And in a way that, brings these people closer to you, and the experience closer to you. And it also, you have to make that commitment, and you have to have that honesty with yourself and say, can I handle this? Can I handle harder than this? Yes. And so hearing firsthand from people like Eileen and Lucas that, it's tough. Singing is already a juggling act. Yeah. And right now, with all the restrictions and, everything your job is even harder. Yeah. Even if it's a blessing, something can be a blessing and you can be very happy to be doing it, but it can still be very tough and a tough experience. So I think that's something very interesting that people will get to, learn from them. Yeah, for me, that was one of my main goals, because you said singing is hard. And, coaching, the coaches are important. That's why, I brought them in, because it's so important to have great coaches working with you that understand you. And I coach and I love coaching, but sometimes I myself question myself, I don't know what it is like then to go out there and sing. I know what is go there to conduct, to play the piano, but those are things that are outside of my body. If you want to sing, you need someone that understands what that is like, and Eileen knows what that is like. Lucas knows what that is like, to have gone through all the process. They work with conductors, with voice teachers, with coaches. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody tells them what repertoire they should be singing. Everybody tells them what they should not be doing, and etc. Even audience members will have an opinion on their voice. But at the end, they are the ones that have to get up there and do it. So I think it's very important for the young singers to work
with these stars and know that the struggles are the same and that they have to go through the same things, and build this inner strength and this inner confidence of who you are and what you have to offer, so that you can then protect yourself against everything that's going to come to you later. So I think that's one of the key aspects, and it was one of my goals of putting the singers in touch with those that are out there doing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's a great place to wrap up. So everyone, today's the deadline for Don Giovanni. When is the deadline for Traviata?
That one we have on January 6th, I believe. So the first week of January is our deadline for Traviata. Mm-hmm. They can see all the information on vinceroacademy.com. They can follow us on social media. It's very easy, Vincero Academy on Instagram or Facebook. And they can write us, ask questions. We will be there to answer everything. This is a very new kind of program. So if there's anything they don't understand, like how it works, what they will get from, we have a very detailed brochure. But for any questions, we will be there to answer and to walk them through everything. So just contact us and don't miss this opportunity to be a part of Vincero.
Fantastic. And apply for the 360 scholarships. These are merit-based, so they will be based on your audition. And if you have any questions, in our bio, there's an article with all the details on how to apply for those scholarships. But basically, once you send your application, you just have to write in 360 of opera, follow both of our accounts, tag some friends. It's very easy. So please apply. And I just want to give a chance if anyone has a question. If not, I'm gonna let you go. And I invite everyone to move to Vincero Academy's page to check out your chat with Lucas. I'm looking forward to it. And please send him a big hug.
For sure. Thank you so much for the scholarship. This is really something that we're grateful for. Already our winners of the Carmen program are super excited, and they're going to be announced soon. And apply for the 360 scholarship for Don Giovanni. We're going to have an interview with Lucas. It seems like we don't have questions. You can bring your questions if you have to the one-on-one I'm having with Lucas Mishem. Nothing. Thank you so much, Eugenia. It's great to have someone like 360 of Opera. The work you're doing is just a medicine for the world of music and opera.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And back at you. I'm so excited about everything Vincero. So I look forward to it all. Thank you so much.
Me too. Thank you.
Ciao. Bye-bye.